Okay guys, thought it was time for an update, so here's what's changed. A new isolator, one's from the generator and one's from the house, so basically we can switch between what power we want to use. Panel's nearly done, got most of the sockets wired now. Lights are on the ceiling. Just a few more. Bottom ones are all DC, 12 volt DC, all from the battery, so therefore decking light, wall lights, anything that's 12 volts basically. Well, as long as it's under 13 amps we can use these little fuse spares. Sockets are up and running now, just as a temporary measure. They are connected like this due to we're doing work on the back of this panel, so we do have to be careful not to touch any live wires because they are live. That's live. That's live as well, so just don't touch them. So not a major changed, as you can see. Still got the conduit going up. Like you see, I don't know if I've shown you this last time, but there's a lot more cables now. Got 12 circuits now. That's just our little regulator for the battery. Does the solar panels and stuff like that. You see all these little ammeters. That's the solar panel. Solar panels even. That's solar panels as well. That one's the relay for the generator. So when I switch the relay on, you can turn the generator on then, which prevents, people accidentally turning it on, or accidents. 100 amp ammeter, that measures the whole, everything we're using. This one's our grid tie 100 amp meter. Same for that one. This one's our LED lights, 5 amps total. So that measures the counter current for the LED lights. This is a 50 amp, and that is for the cigarette lighter sockets. So these are actually cigarette lighter sockets. That's 15 amps maximum. And there's another two over here. They're both 10 amp each, so as you can work it out yourself, 35-40 amps nearly. As regards to what's changed dramatically, this pipe is coming down from the ceiling. I might have shown this in previous videos, I don't know, but I'll show you again anyway. Basically all the cables run through the ceiling. When they run through the ceiling right along there, then they come down through this pipe. This is actually a 40mm waste pipe, and they go into this board here, which is our distribution board. It's just basically a massive fuse board, and the reason I use this is because, as I said in previous videos, it was cheap. I got it cheap on eBay and I managed to adapt it and modify it, so I got it cheap, so I thought I'd use that instead. As you see, these cables here, they're all waiting to go in another one of these because that's full, because I've only put, if my memory serves me right, I think 6 or 8 cables in there. And you can probably fit 10 or 12 in, but we've left room for airflow, because due to when the cables are getting used and the current inside them, the cables can heat up, so if you've got them all packed tight in there, no airflow and overheat and then possible fire. So that's why we like keeping airflow. As regards to what I've changed, under here has changed, and get some light onto that. That's now our main box where everything's joined. So we've got 25 square mil cable coming into this. It goes into a 100 amp shunt. 100 amp shunt, you remember saying, I don't know if I told you about 100 amp shunt, did I? Anyway, the 100 amp shunt is for our 100 amp ammeter, and that measures the total amount of current for everything. So the LED lights, the decking lights, the cigarette socket, everything's 12 volts, that measures it. Then it goes from that 100 amp shunt, it goes into this second one, which is going to be another 100 amp shunt, which is for the grid tie inverters, which measures the amount of current grid tie inverters are pulling. Third one is for LED lighting. They're the bus bars for the LED lighting. The ammeter does not need a shunt, so it just goes. The cable just goes straight to the ammeter. And then the fourth one is the 50 amp shunt. That's a 50 amp shunt, and then it's going to go down into a 50 amp bus bar, like them. Not bus bars, like them. That one on the far end is basically where all the cables for all the light circuits and ring mains and everything else goes. I'll show you the battery bank now. Small battery bank, but there's our battery. As you can see, get a bit focused in. There's our battery. It's a Numax 55 amp hour battery, 12 volt. We've got the little cable lugs. That looks very small on the camera, but that cable, this red cable, is very thick. This is 25 square mil cable, about 220 amps maximum. We're using it as a 100 amp maximum cable because the cable run between the battery and all the switches on the other side of the room is a good 5 meters, so we get a fair bit of voltage drop at 100 amps. So we bump the cable size up, reduce the voltage drop, and also makes it better. So if any faults happen or anything, my cables are not going to melt before the fuse goes. Basically, we are going to get more batteries in here. Then little fans, they vent the hydrogen and oxygen. Switch them on. They're just little computer fans. And there's a little junction box where all the cables join, and then they run along the wall and then up into there. And then the cables come out here. See that? And then they split off into the various loads. You're probably wondering where this light's coming from. If you look up there, there's a little 2-foot fluorescent strip light. The little junction box over there, which is for the 240 volt lights. And they're 25 mil cables, as I said before. Same for negative, 25 square mil. And then you've got little fans to vent the hydrogen and oxygen. Cigarette lighter sockets, and that's a switch for them fans. There's a switch for the fans, as I was saying. We did have a little blue LED voltmeter, but when I was pulling the panel out, I accidentally pulled the back off it. So I've got to get that replaced, just because of my incompetence. But for now, I've got this little small meter. It's a voltmeter, I don't know if you can see that. And it's measuring 250 volts. Well, 246, but as it's an analog, it says 250. This is not very accurate, the analogs. And that's fed from this isolator, which goes to the house, and then basically on, off. And then they're padlocked off. So now I can't turn the generator on and the house at the same time and cause a fire. They're the junction boxes for all the solar panels. I use 20 amp maximum, but they probably take more than that. The little bus bars that I do use can take a lot more. That's our little voltage regulator. It's charging the batteries at the moment. We had the decking lights on and the outdoor lights on all night, so that did take a lot of power. So we had to recharge the batteries up now. They're isolated for the solar panels. They're for the decking lights, they turn the decking lights on. And they're all for the light in the ceiling, the cupboard lights, and well, not decking lights, the wall lights. We've got a couple of main strip light, wall light outside. So that's what they're powering. So not mega's changed, but last time I did a video we didn't have the cables in, we didn't have nothing like that. And these ammeters are not running at the moment.